understand better. My theme is somewhat similar to the one of Radka. I'm dealing with the eco-critical potential of comedy. So the potential of comedy to speak about ecological things and to make a sort of a political theater. My research stems from my personal experience. When I was watching performance Fever, this was was produced by Mladinsko Theater and Festival Steirischer Herbst in 2021. It was directed by Žiga Divjak. It is a very powerful performance dealing with ecological problems, with the catastrophe that is coming. And the idea that Divjak is trying to put forward is that we are not equally guilty for the situation we are in, that it is the rich people and the social system as such basically are the reason. They are suggesting that we should, of course, resist, that we should change the social system by sabotaging the infrastructure, like sabotaging pipelines, electric power plants, and so on. But at the end, I was, on one hand, I was eager to do something. I was, of course, very much activated. But on the other hand, these solutions were, for me, they were impossible tasks. So it was a kind of frustration of wanting to do something, but at the same time, couldn't do it. So my research question would be, how is the message constructed in the Fever, and whether similar message constructed in a comedy, so in a different way, would be less frustrating or in a way yes, more activating to the public. I will try to analyze these by comparing two theatrical texts. Already mentioned Fever by Žiga Divjak, and the other one, This Game is Over. This is a theater text by Matjaž Zupančič that was recently one of the nominees for the Groom Award, and it will be staged in 2024. Methodologically, I am leaning on intermediate eco-criticism, the methodology that was proposed by Jürgen Brun. He analyzes different media products, and he also speaks about the potential of social critical potential of such media products of today. He suggests a three-step methodology, and here I quote: after the initial choice of media products, as well as one or more topics to be analyzed and perhaps compared, three consecutive steps follow. The first, descriptive step, the main aim is to define and analytically describe the fundamental features of the media type in general, and the media product in particular. In the second step, after having established the basic features, the aim is to specify, by way of analysis and interpretation, the exact ways in which the affordances of the media product enable or disable specific aspects that are to be represented. In the third and the final step, the results of the analysis can be compared to the analysis of one or more media products. As we are dealing with two theatrical texts, so we have already chosen our media and would have the similar features. And as what I'm trying to do is the comparison between the two texts, so I will focus on the second step, and here I will use a further development of this methodology that was done by Simon C. Eastock. He suggests a few points that are to be analyzed in a matter of how the text or the media product is addressing a certain thing. So these are the points. So how various media calibrate scale. So how does the product sort of present the problem so that it's not too complex or too big for the audience to grasp it. The second, how various media image physical proximity of represented object to the audience. So this means how this product gets the idea to the audience that this the problem is relevant for us. The third thing, how various media intermediate ethical proximities to represented objects. So how these presented problems are ethically relevant for the audience. And the fourth one, so the degree to which various media narrativize data. So how things are represented, how are exposed, destabilized, and so on. Okay, so what I'm now going to do is present you both texts and try to analyze them by these points. The first is Fever. It was produced in 2021 by Styrischer Herbst and Mladinsko Theatre, directed by Žiga Dimrak. It was a performance of devised theatre. So actors, director, the whole crew were also authors of the text. They collected a lot of data about the ecological problems, so a lot of documentary data, a lot of research, and they were later on compiled and used in a performance together with personal stories of actors involved. The audience is seated in a circle together with the actors, so we get also this idea of unity, so a sort of a collective between actors and the audience. And it begins in a way of a ritual. So they're presenting us with the hard facts, but they're repeating the facts all over again. So it gets this ritualistic nature of the text. So I'm giving you here the example. At the beginning, Gregor Zorc is giving us the facts. On the 12th of June 1992, 154 nations signed the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, which, upon ratification, committed signatories' governments to reduce atmospheric concentrations of greenhouse gases with the goal of preventing dangerous anthropogenic interference with Earth's climate system. And then, you see, they take only some points, some key words, and change them. So, anthropogenic interference, preventing, dangerous, climate, system. And this goes on and on. So what I want to present here is that it is not only the mental level that they are speaking to, but also the physiological and emotional level of the audience. And they're very, very good at it. So we are soon really activated. We are soon, of course, feeling the problem and the seriousness of the problem. Later on, when we are already convinced, they get more personal. They get to the personal stories of the actors, and here I will present only one of those that was for me most touching, the one by Damir Audić, a Bosnian who is telling us his story about ignoring the war in Bosnia. So the war started, as we know, in Slovenia, then moved to Croatia, and basically every other nation hoped that it would sort of go away. So this is how he's telling us. He was playing in a band, he was a teenager, or at the end of being a teenager, and he was saying, no, this is war, this is not for me, I want to play, I don't give a shit, and so on. But of course, the war, we know today that the war came, that it was bloody, that it was a terrible thing that lasted 4 years, and at the end, Damir Audić says, I onda je počeo rat, mislio sam da sanjam, i onda je rat stao. I trebalo mi je 10 godina da shvatim da se život neće nastaviti tamo gdje je stao kad je rat počeo. I onda su krenule psihoze. I onda sam dostario. I danas mi kažu da sam ja uništio planetu i sjebao budućnost mladima. Neka. Neka svako iživi zablude svoje mladosti. Starost čeka i neće imati milosti. So what we're getting here is basically a parallel to our attitude toward ecological problems. So we're ignoring it, but it's coming anyway. And Damir is saying it will come, it will be too late, and we'll have to deal with the trauma if we survive. Of course, we don't know whether we will, but you can really feel the inadequacy of our response to the imminent problem. So if we view or analyze fever in a way how it deals with the problem, so we can say that it successfully manages scale. So it brings the problem to us. It makes it personal, and of course it's highly convincing. The theme is represented as ethically relevant, and it offers concrete reasons for the present state of affairs. So this is the rich people and the social system. However, the audience is successfully addressed and motivated, but the solutions that are put forward are represented as an impossible task. So it results in a kind of a frustration for the audience. The second text is "This game is over." It was written in 2022, nominated for the Groom Award in 2023. It didn't get the award, but it was among the 5 nominees. It will be staged in April 24 at of course, the Central Slovenian Theatre, Slovenian National Theatre Drama in Ljubljana, and directed by the author himself. I think this is the text that starts from the feeling of the audience at the end of fever. So basically what Zupančič does, he asks himself, how would people react in a catastrophe if catastrophe would be imminent and unavoidable? Thus, he sets the action in different contexts. There is a meteor approaching the Earth, and the impact will take place in a year's time. The planet will explode, it will fall to pieces, all life, of course, will be extinct, and it will be the end of everyone. So what Zupančič does, he takes several characters, different psychological profiles, and puts them in this catastrophic atmospheric context. And then sees how they react to this. So who do we have? We have Krištof Dolenc, who denies the fact that the meteor is coming and retreats into passivity. So it's just teoria zarote. What is this in English? Conspiracy theory. Yeah. Jakob Poglajen, who becomes obsessed with the meteor, warns of the danger, but soon it turns out that the real motivation of his attitude is jealousy. His wife left him, and he is now indulging in the idea that his wife and her lover will die in this catastrophe, and he will watch them. Dorotea Thea, who becomes a victim of hedonistic husband. This husband is now obsessed with sex because the catastrophe is coming. He wants to have sex all the time, so she runs away. Amos Drey, an entrepreneur who profits from the catastrophe. He's selling tickets for the train to death, shares for a rubber boat factory, insurance policies, and so on. Strulc Chibutki, the conscientious bureaucrat who has come to solve the predicament of cadastre. So he comes into this joint, this restaurant, and he says, no, here, this plot of land is not listed in our books, so we have to put it down or make some other changes. And he's really meticulous in this. Like, resolving this question can save the world, even though we know that the world is falling apart. And then we have a psychiatrist who's looking for an escaped patient who, interestingly enough, thinks she is a meteor. So, this kind of thing. And the death who drinks archive cognac and is about to lose her job because they're not going to do. The action is full of absurd situations. Characters are denying the catastrophe, exploiting it for their own interests, and mainly remain passive. Nevertheless, at the end, the possibility of solution is presented through Maria Meza. She is the owner of this joint, and she is advocating for the world without war and exploitation. And she says, one has to start with oneself. This evening, I'm setting the example. No more quarrels for today. No more accusations. And we'll have fun. The likes of which have never been seen here before. I lock the door and you can smoke. Everything is free from now. So this hedonistic idea of, okay, let's be old friends, this flower power ideas. But even this idea is relativized in a comic way, as at the end, they are no longer sure whether they see the meteor approaching or is it simply dawn breaking. So this game is over. If we analyze it, we can say that it successfully manages scale. So this huge, complex issue of ecological problem is put in a very specific situation, and with the comic approach, of course, it lets the audience take in the idea. Though it is tragic, they're laughing and they're sort of, getting it, but then at the end, of course, this is the laughter, with the bitter laughter of the drama of the absurd, for instance. So the play is relevant to the audience because it presents different psychological types. There are types, like in a comedy, of course, and it is easier to get identified with the characters. With one more, with the other less. And, of course, this theme and the way it is presented is, of course, deals with the basic existentialist and ethical questions. What do we do when the death is approaching, when our life becomes final? So it is also ethically relevant for the audience. But, okay, so it is a successful way of eco-criticism that will probably affect every member of the audience. However, there is a limit to this socio-critical potential of it, as a positive alternative is quite hard to formulate, because every alternative, every idea is, in a way, relativized. It is comic. To conclude, when we think of different ways of presenting ecological problems in theatre, we see that it is mainly successful at presenting the theme and making it personal. It definitely can move the spectator and force him or her to realize that she needs to do something, but it is less successful at suggesting the solutions. The theatre is more, these solutions are more easily presented in a serious form of political or documentary theatre of dialogue. However, it is a task that seems fruitless. Thus, it leads to frustration and a feeling of helplessness. With the comedy, those are ridiculed together with other ideas, so again, it is hard to formulate. But at the end, I think it is not the task of the theatre to give answers. It is probably enough to raise questions and awareness about the different issues by moving the